Okay, so here's a follow-up video to the other videos that I haven't posted yet. Good news and bad news, I have the sump in. Bam! So the sump is now in, which is good news. The bad news is the sump is in, and now I can expect all kinds of fucking crazy problems, and I'm sure that this is going to overflow, and my tenants downstairs are going to get sloughed with 60 gallons of water, and everybody's going to lose their mind, and it's going to fucking black mold. So I know that's all going to happen. It can't not happen. That's just how the world works. But there it is. There's the sump. 20 gallon trigger, square. I got the sock kicking in. The one thing on these refugium sump things that I see a lot of people doing is their water dumps straight down into it. And I was noticing that every time I was experimenting in the kitchen with this thing, that when that came straight down, that with a little PVC, when it came straight down, the bubble, it would hit, so much water would be coming down, it would hit the bottom of the sump, and the bottom, gravity would send the air bubbles back up. They would go back up, and they would go into the tank, and they would cause more air in the overflow. So I put a little U valve on it, or a little L, so now it just comes out and it shoots off to the side. And I literally stopped all those fucking bubbly noises and shit from gurgling up the thing just by curving that. Now, if you have even if you don't have, my tube is relatively straight, my overflow, but even if you had bends, those air bubbles, they're going to go in, they're just going to travel up. So I might suggest to folks just putting a little L on that, and you could probably cut down a lot of racket in your sump and make it flow a little better. So then within the tank there, I got the heat. I got a second heater in there. And then I have the bio ball things that were in the old fluval that I replaced. They're all filthy and all kinds of good bacteria and junk and shit on them. That thing's been running for like 2 years, so there's some good things in there, I'm sure, and probably some crap, but fuck it, it's in there. And then I've got the 2 big containers of Miracle Mud in here that I put it in a container itself, because I don't want that mud rolling around if something happens, or if I've got to do emergency work on this, which I'm sure I will every fucking day, because that's what aquariums are. It's a big pain in the dick. So I'm gonna have to be doing something to this every single fucking day. So I don't want mud fucking cocking around the works and getting blown into the display tank and shitting up the fucking thing. So I put it in a container like that so I can pull it out, and it just fits in the top here where the thing is. And that's good. Then I have I put some carbons in there where the bubble stop is and the little pad, and then behind that is the filter. The return pump. And then that little black dot thing with the wire there, that's the sensor for the automatic top off. It's a little low right now, but that's okay. That's where I eventually want it once they settle this water down. I don't want too much water in that return chamber because I don't want it to pump into the display. And then there's the thing that goes to the bucket that has the top off water in it. So that's the sump. I'm still trying to tune how it's returned. I don't know how I want it. I don't want it. I hate the sound of water making water sounds. So I want it underneath a little bit, but I don't want to reverse siphon to be able to join up. But I think just the way I have it, if this water level sinks too much and the pump goes off, air should be able to go right in there and stop the siphon. This is the overflow. Okay, I'm still trying to adjust this. I hate how this has got it swivels. It's got one nut, so the overflow can do this, and I don't have big enough fish that they can cock around with this. But if you've got a monster Picasso or something in there, then you might have some issues. And then I told you before, I just hate that this thing wobbles. I just hate wobbling. Anything that wobbles sucks. Now, it's not super loud. I have found that I put a tube in there. If you blow in the tube, it'll just get dead silent for a few seconds as you force air down there. And then when you let up, it'll just kind of even itself out, and it'll be nice and quiet. I haven't done it yet, again, because I'm still tinkering around here, so there's no point. But It's not as loud as I expected. It's not, but it still fucking sucks because of this shit and this fucking shit and all that fucking shit that sucks. And like I said in the original videos, nothing in the world stops the bulkhead from leaking. So I just put 56 pounds of fucking silicone on there and then I welded it. So right now, it hasn't been leaking since I did that. My protein skimmer has been going nuts. This is a hang-on back protein skimmer, but that's because I added 20 gallons of new water. Most of it I had pre-made, but some of it I just made up on the fly because I didn't have enough buckets pre-ready. So I just lifted it all the way to its highest setting and we'll leave it there. You can see it puked on my wall because of it. I didn't clean off the salt or anything like that, so you know, you fucking neat freaks can go suck it. And then this is the original hang-on back refugium. It's a couple of gallons. It's a CPR. It's got a nice little LED thing on it. It's loaded to the brim with mud and all kinds, like 50 different kinds of macro in there, just grown away, and all kinds of tube worms and shit. So this isn't tumbling. So all you people who are gonna go, oh my God, your fucking algae's not tumbling. You're a murderer. You're a rapist. You're an ass fucking asshole because your fucking tumbling isn't tumbling. Well, fuck you. It's fine. It doesn't have to tumble. I will. At some point, as soon as this whole tank settles down, I will remove half of this, maybe a little more than half, because it's chock full. It actually goes down pretty deep, you can see it, so it's just chock filled with algae and pods and all kinds of fucking good creepy crawlies. And I'll put that in the main refugium here. So at that point, I'll have two fuges. To be able to do, you know, whatever fuges do. Now, the reason I'm putting this in, I got rid of this. Bam! Through the miracle of teleportation, I'm now in the tub. I got rid of this. It's a Fluval 206. I had a 206 and a 205 on there originally. Then I got the skimmer and the hang-on back, and I got rid of one. And then I got rid of the other one. So now I'm canister free. So, yeah, back to the miracle of modern fucking whatever, and I'm back here. So, I just got to tune this. The tank's messy and it's overgrown because I have been neglecting it. One of the reasons I did want to put that big fuge in there is because this tank is overstocked. The reason it's overstocked is because it's been running over a year and I did not have all the stuff in here. I had a lot of coral, but I didn't have a lot of fish, and then I ordered a bunch of inverts from Live Aquaria, and Live Aquaria fucked up, and instead of sending me the inverts I ordered, they sent me a shit ton of fish, like 30 fish, all kinds. Looks like some sucker was stocking some big motherfucking tank, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I called them, and they're like, oh shit, man, we're sorry. It was too late to ship them back because they'd already been in the container more than a day. So it's like, donate them where you can donate them. So I was able to give a bunch to some friends, but there were just some fish I couldn't get rid of. So I was stuck with them. So now there's more fish in here than I would like. I got the two retarded. These are those fucking retarded tangs. Not tangs. These fucking clownfish that I inherited from someone who was sick of them. Because these things are fucking retards. And they'll bite your fingers. And if they could, they'll jump out and bite your dick. That's what they do. They're just dick biting fucknuts. And sticking my hand in there is a peril. They try to kill me all the time, little bastards. I have finger fights with them all the time. I flick them in the fucking head. I flick you in the head when I'm in there. And you're all like, and you still try to fight me, you little bastards. And then the tang, which I'll probably rehome one day. Should probably outgrow this tank, almost assuredly. But right now he's super happy. He's fat. He's having a grand time. He's the only tang in there, so he's happy. And then I got a bunch of these little fucking chromies. All they do is play grab ass all day and fuck with each other. And then what the fuck is that guy called again? He's a jester. And he's kind of cool, but he's retarded too, because all he does is pick up sand in his mouth and come over here and spit them on these two corals, because he just covers them with corals. I don't know why. He's a little chooch. And then those two right there, little card things, little cardinal guys. And There's a mandarin in here somewhere. Again, I didn't order almost any of those. I just couldn't rehome them. Now, speaking about rehoming, I got some big murder crabs in there. Like, this motherfucking murder crab is big, and there's 5 or 6 or 8 of them in there that are getting too big. And their new home will be down here in the sump, as well as probably some of these astrea snails. Like these astrea snails, although they clean everything, they're really good. For whatever reason, they love to dry hump my fucking zoas. They get right on it and they dry hump them. I don't know why they do that. I used this whole frag tray used to be filled with them, and then they would just crawl on the frag tray and dry hump my fucking zoas. So I ended up having a bunch of them didn't make it because I wasn't really looking at the tank that much at the time, and so then I had to end up rehoming the zoas down here on the ground in the sand where the diatoms are starting to bloom a little bit because of the shit I've been doing the last couple of days. And then these anemones are fucking going crazy. They're getting too big. Be careful when you put anemones in your tank, because even though they're pretty, they're just like women, and they do whatever the hell they want, and they don't listen to you, and they don't care, and they just do their own thing. And this one, as you can tell, has been fucking a little bit now with my coral because he's been getting big. And they move where they want to, and they do what they want to, and they don't care, and they cost you money. So just be careful with them, because they're just going to go where they want. But anyway, so that's the end of it. So I will keep posted on this. Once I get some stuff in there, I'm gonna fill this with live rock. I'm gonna put live rock in and around the back where the skimmer would normally go. Or I might put another kind of reactor in there. I don't know. I've never had problems with like my levels in the water and stuff. So I might do, but I might put another type of reactor in there or something. I don't know. And I'll definitely put another bunch of clumps of rock in there. I've got more rock now, but it's been out of the water for a while, and I don't know if it's got Zoe eating nudies on it or something, so I'm just going to leave them out. Fuck it. And that's that. Alright, once I get this filled with junk and it's been running for a couple of days and it hasn't cocked up, I will let you guys return. And there's the little Mandy. He's the cutest thing. I think my daughter calls him Rainbow. He's been in here for like 6 months, and he's just a pod-eating beast. I do have a giant colony of whiteworms that I started to raise that has been grown enough where I can try to feed him those whiteworms and see if I can't supplement his diet with some nutritious whiteworms. If I can get him past these 2 raging morons right here, maybe I'll take them out and throw them on the floor or something while I'm feeding them, and then put them back in the tank. You can't kill these clowns. Or maybe they'll live in the sump. Oh, that's a good idea. Clowns living in the sump, right? Yeah. Alright, well, anyway, once I get this going full blown, I will post more. Alright, thanks. Toots.